Hello, in this video tutorial, I will be showing you how to solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. Let's begin by going over the definition. Suppose we have the binomial x squared plus bx, a degree 2 binomial. Then, by adding b divided by 2 to the second power, which is the square of half of the coefficient of x, half of this, then we're going to have a perfect square trinomial. Perfect square trinomial will result x squared plus bx plus b over 2 to the second power. This is going to become a perfect square trinomial, and what's nice about this is that now we are able to exchange that for a binomial to the second power. So let's see how we can apply this strategy with this example. We have to solve this equation by completing the square. Now, since we have an equation, what I can do here is distinguish the left-hand side from the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have three terms. Two of them contain x's, one of them doesn't contain a variable at all. This term here that has no variable, we're going to call that a constant. The plan is going to be to keep the x terms on one side and move the constant to the other. We have a plus 3. In order to get the 3 to move to the right hand side, we will do the opposite operation, meaning that we're going to have to subtract by 3. Subtract by 3 on the left hand side, subtract by 3 on the right hand side. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do it to the other. Doing so will leave us now with x squared plus 10x. The 3 and the negative 3 are going to cancel out, and then 0 minus 3, we get negative 3. Now that I have all of the x terms on one side, I can complete the square. Since I have a degree 2 binomial, all I would need to do is to add by b over 2 to the second power, and that will leave me with a perfect square trinomial. We need to add by b over 2 to the second power, and for our specific example, the b term is going to be 10. So we're going to add 10 over 2 raised to the second power. And whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do it to the other side of the equation. So on the right hand side, we also need to add by 10 over 2 to the second power. Next, I'm going to exchange my perfect square trinomial for the binomial to the second power. On the left hand side, we can now exchange the trinomial for x plus 10 over 2 raised to the second power. And that's going to equal negative 3 plus 10 over 2 to the second power. I'm going to begin to simplify things. For example, I know that 10 over 2 is the same thing as 5, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to simplify again because I know that 5 raised to the second power, that's going to be 25. Again, 5 to the second power is just 5 times 5, and 5 times 5 gives me 25. On the left hand side, notice that here we have a binomial raised to the second power, and keep in mind that we cannot distribute the exponent. Okay, we would have to FOIL here, but foiling will defeat the purpose of getting to this point. Okay, if we FOIL, we'll be going backwards, and we're trying to move forward here. We want to isolate x. So here, let's keep on simplifying. So negative 3 plus 25, we're going to get 22. And to get rid of the square, we are now going to have to use the square root. So using the square root, we're going to apply it to the left-hand side, and we're going to apply it to the right-hand side. Here, the square and the square root cancel out. All we are left with now is the x plus 5 equal to, well, 22 doesn't have a perfect square, so we're going to leave it in radical form, but we're going to have two different choices. We're going to have plus or minus radical 22. Our final move is to isolate x. Here we have a plus 5, so we are going to do the opposite operation, which is minus 5. Minus 5 here, minus 5 there. And the 5s are going to cancel out on the left hand side. All we are left with is x equal to, I'm going to put the negative 5 in the front. So we have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 22. And that would be our solution. Keep in mind that you can also present the solution like this, separate from each other. So -5 plus radical 22 and -5 minus radical 22. So this is a shorthand for both of these answers, which are valid. So I hope I was able to help you practice with completing the square. I'm going to leave you with a you try problem. Click pause, see if you can figure how to do all the steps, and the solution will present itself in a few seconds.